What's good, Facebook? It's your boy Just Justin back for another Nothing But Sports show. And as you can tell, the cheesiest guy on the internet is joining me, 2X Sports Junkie, and my boy Keo from the Bay Area. We're back for another Nothing But Sports show, the only show on the NBS network that it's nothing but sports and talks about all sports. But tonight we're talking about the NBA. So what's good, guys?
You know I'm here. You know why.
All right. For those of y'all who don't know, we do a huge. We're big fantasy football, basketball league guys, right? And I've been flexing this belt for the last 6 months or so because I'm the fantasy football champion.
Facts.
But every year we do a fantasy basketball league, and this year we had. It was kind of a small league, but it was a good quality league, really fun. 12 guys, and me and Truex, the Sports Junkie, was in the finals of the NBS Basketball Championship. And I'm here to introduce to the world the 2020-2021 NBS Fantasy Basketball Champion of the world, 2X Sports Junkie.
Thank you. You know why I'm here. Hey, I want to say, man, thank you for that great introduction. That look, champagne tastes better when you're a champion. Hey, the funny thing, ironically, I have the guy I'm doing the show with, Just Justin, who I played in the championship game. The only team that beat me this year, by the way. The only team that beat me in the regular season was Just Justin. So I got my revenge. And then in the other corner, I got the guy that bet against me. Well, I'm going to say bet, but picked against me. Supposed to be my good friend, my co-host of Let's Talk About It. He went with the other guy.
Well, sometimes you get tired of you winning. So
I smell conspiracy here. We got the commissioner of the league on the show, who also is your co-host on tomorrow night, as my backup. Then Let's Talk About It show. So I smell some conspiracy theories, but I'm just gonna leave it there and I'm gonna let you roll with it. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, at the end of the day, he picked you to win. He was wrong just like you were wrong. I was doubted because he upset me in the regular season. Everybody was like, oh man, Judge Justin's gonna be tough to beat. CO Boss. And I'm gonna give him his credit. His team has the MVP of fantasy basketball, in my opinion, Russell Westbrook on his team. It was crazy. Russ went crazy every game for the most part. But when the chips were down, baby, I had more depth, and my guy showed more heart when the chips went down, baby. Shout out to Jason Tatum. Shout out to Trigger Trey Young. I'm not giving no shout out to Embiid and Ben Simmons because they let me down. And they made the matchup a lot closer than it should have been. Shout out to Anthony Davis. I'm back. That's the new slogan. That's the slogan we're going to roll with from now on. I'm back, man. And then you disrespected Anthony Davis all year long.
If he wouldn't be injured all the time, he would have no reason to be back.
Hey, I'm back. You know what? Shout out to the Goon Squad, man. It was a hell of a year. 16-1. The one loss being to Justin in the regular season. But when it counted the most, the Goon Squad came through. So, I'm really happy with this championship.
Definitely. I mean, you deserve it. Like I told you before the game started at the end of the season, this was the funnest year we've ever had. And if I lost to you, that I would be humble, and that you well deserved it. You were the best team all year round. You were the number one seed in the playoffs. I was number two. But at the end of the day, you were the number one because you had the best team. The best team won. The best owner won.
I like that. That you know what? Hey, Keo, I want you to make a flyer with.
Oh, come on, man! Come on, man!
That's a quote right there. I think you should put a Mount Rushmore up with my head on it, the first head, and you just have the quote from Judge Justin. The best fantasy owner won the 2020-2021 fantasy basketball championship. That's a great slogan, Justin. I love it.
All right. Let's get to some real sports news.
Hey, we talking basketball. I should be the only one talking right now.
Oh my God.
No, I'm playing. Let's go with it though, baby. It's all good, all fun.
All right.
Thank you for having us on the show though.
Oh, definitely. Thank y'all for showing up. Oh, shout out to Jasper, man. Jasper had he had an emergency tonight. He couldn't make it. He's normally my co-host. I really appreciate y'all guys coming on. I'm sure Jasper appreciates it. I can't wait to see Jasper back on, so that we can actually have some real sports analysts on the show. Except instead of having these other guys, but.
Oh my God.
No. Much respect. All right. First topic of the night. We're talking about, Kobe Bryant. I know we talked about Kobe Bryant before, his tragic death. But this week he was introduced into the Hall of Fame. And what would y'all take from the ceremony? It was a beautiful ceremony. What would y'all take from it?
I'm gonna let Keo go ahead and go first.
I don't ever get tired talking about Kobe. He's one of my favorite players of all time, one of my favorite players to watch. For me it was an honor and privilege to actually watch a player from when he first entered the league, and then watching him, through his tough times when he hit his prime, and when he ended his career, and then when he retired and he went to the filming business. So for me it was an honor and a privilege to follow his career, because there's players out there like the Jordans, the Jordans, the Montanas, Larry Birds. People talk about their career. Like I hear about the stories, but for Kobe, I was able to watch him from when he entered the league, and then when he retired. The Vanessa Bryant speech, that I could tell that was no PR, that came from the heart, and you could tell just by the emotions that she put on that stage and the speech that she gave. And I thought it was dope that his oldest daughter was able to wear the Hall of Fame jacket. And yeah, it was a really good class, man. Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and I'm just glad that Kobe was able to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. I thought it should have been sooner. I thought it should have been as soon as he retired, he should have been inducted to the Hall of Fame, because he's an automatic Hall of Fame to me, and one of the best to ever do it.
Absolutely, man. First and foremost, excuse me. Shout out to everybody that made the Hall of Fame, man. I think this was a really, really great class. One that
that's one of the questions I was going to ask too. Like, do you think that being such a great class, you're talking about Tim Duncan, one of the greatest of all times, and Kevin Garnett, do you think that the fact that they were overshadowed by Kobe, do you think that's kind of fair to them?
I think
because no one talked about them. Like, it's always like, hey, it was a great class, but nobody talked about them. Like, these guys did their whole life. Their whole life was dedicated to basketball. They were one of the greatest of all time in their fashions.
And you feel like everybody's talking about Kobe.
and everybody's talking about Kobe because I mean I kind of felt sorry for him
Yeah.
because I don't want to ever take anything away from Kobe. Kobe deserves every ounce of talking that everybody's doing about him. But at the end of the day, like these guys, it's almost as unfair because like they are one of the greatest and they're just an afterthought. They're just like
I mean, I guess I get what you're saying. Definitely, I can see, for the average fan, and even for myself, a big sports junkie, so to speak. Um, but I pay attention to all of it. And I'm not giving them shortcomings because of the fact that we're talking about Kobe. Man, I got to watch Tim Duncan's entire career, Kevin Garnett's entire career, Tamika's Catchings' entire career, Kobe's, and then the list goes on and on. But overall, I mean, I thought this was a phenomenal class. One that we're gonna look back and say maybe one of the better classes of all time. As far as Kobe in general, that we're talking about him right now. This dude, man, is crazy because when he started his career, as y'all know, I'm not a Laker fan at all. Never have been a Laker fan. I was a big LeBron James fan. He went to the Lakers, and I don't even, root for him in the Lakers uniform. But what I will say is, the more I found out about Kobe Bryant, the more I found out about, how hard he worked toward his craft. No matter what, you don't have to be a fan of a team. You have to put some respect on greatness. And that dude, man, I'll forever be grateful that I got to watch him play, hear him speak about, becoming great at whatever your craft is. So I'm forever grateful, and that mama mentality, man, that's going to be something that I go to my grave really believing in. I believe in that mama mentality. Like, you have to have that kind of mentality in whatever you love to do. Like, we love talking sports. And every day I come on here, regardless of how I feel about my cousin Justin or my boy Keo, I'm going at him, man. I'm going at him just because I know how much work I put into, talking sports with these guys or talking anything when it comes to nothing but sports brand. And Kobe Bryant played a huge role in that, just articulating it and putting it in that mama mentality form. So shout out to Kobe, shout out to his family, man, but also shout out to all the inductees this past week. Definitely an amazing class.
I love listening to the insight from his wife, where
Yeah.
like she told a story of like why he plays when he's hurt. Because he remembers as a kid sitting in the 300 section in the nosebleed sections and being grateful to be there, not being able to afford a ticket, but went and bought a ticket to watch his favorite player. And that he remembers how that feels, that he doesn't want that child to ever not be able to see their favorite player. And another thing that I really, when she said it, I was like, that's Kobe. When he said, if you want to bet on anybody in this world, bet on yourself.
That's right.
When she said that, like getting those insights into Kobe's mindset. When you talk about the Mamba mindset, the mom, the mentality, that's all part of the Mamba mentality. So that's something that I think the world could definitely learn from, and I was definitely appreciative of his mark that he made on the NBA, and it was a beautiful ceremony, and I'm just glad that we were able to witness it.
Definitely, brother. Definitely.
So, all right. So now that the NBA season is over, um, who are y'all winners for the season awards? This is the time of year where everybody puts their 2 cents in on who they believe should be this, should be that. Now it's time to give our awards. Um, who do y'all think should be the 2021 NBA MVP?
Oh, Keo, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go first. I know you're holding it down for the Bay Area. Let's hear it.
Oh yeah, I am. um, it's easy for me, man. It's a body bag for me, as you could terms you use in battle rap. It's a 30 for me. I'm going with Steph Curry in this one. Um, and I think with the fact that I think they're gonna lose tomorrow. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I think that they're still gonna be able to advance as an 8 seed, and just his I think his number speaks for itself. We all know that he won the NBA scoring title also, And I just look at this compared to the rest of the NBA candidates. I said it before on the show. You take Steph Curry out of that team. That team is a damn lottery team. You put Steph, and if Steph Curry is on that team, and we've seen it happen though when Steph Curry's not playing, this team will get blown out and would have no type of chance at all. But when Steph Curry's on this team, it's a whole different ball game. I just look at it compared to the other candidates out there, guys like Embiid, Jokic. Uh, if you take those guys out of the team, who would hurt the most? And I think it would be the Golden State Warriors. And I think Steph Curry's numbers speaks for itself. He's broken numerous records. I think he um the all-time leading scorer for the Golden State Warriors. He broke it this past season, and I think he should be winning the MVP, and I think he will win the MVP.
Okay,
Are
I
you
ain't mad at
kidding
that.
me?
Huh?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
I mean, yes, Steph Curry did win the scoring title. I give him his props. He deserves to be in the conversation. But Jokic has had one of the most unreal seasons of any player of any era all time. He only had him and Murray on his team that are really stars. Murray goes down, they don't miss a beat. Okay, you're talking about Steph Curry's not on there. They're not an 8th seed. Are you kidding me? An 8th seed? That's his accomplishment. An 8th seed. This guy, are they the number 2 seed in the West right now?
Who?
The Nuggets.
I think the 3.
The 3 seed. What other team with one bona fide superstar is that high on the radar? You can't name one. This guy is scoring, rebounding, playing defense. He's had one of the most unreal seasons of all time. No, he's your MVP.
Wow. So I get to break I get to be the deciding factor.
I know where you're going with it. I know where you're going, but go ahead.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
So first of all, I want to say shout out to all the candidates. I'm gonna put some candidates out there. I think Embiid deserves some credit because let me just say this. I agree with you. Made a great point a few shows back when you said he missed too many games. I actually agree with that. That's why he's not my MVP, but I think he deserves credit because the Sixers without him is under 500. With them, they're way above 500, and they're number 1 seed in the East. So it's proven what he's doing on the team. But he does have Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris on that team with him. We can sit here and say that they're under 500 without him, but they still have 2 good players on their team. Then I look at somebody like Julius Randle. What he's done in New York, I think people are not appreciating that enough. That dude has been a beast from beginning to end. You would have told me the Knicks were going to be the 4th seed in the East, I would have laughed at you at the beginning of the season. So
But MVP, I get it.
You
got to give him credit, but I wouldn't put him in the MVP.
I think he's a candidate. I'm not saying he should win. I'm saying he should be a candidate. So I'm going to give him his props. I think that nobody's putting enough respect on Russell Westbrook's name.
I knew where you were going.
This team started out as the worst team in the NBA while Russell's basically not playing. This dude pulled that team out of that situation, even when Bradley Beal missed games, and they have a chance to make the playoffs right now. That's incredible. A lot of people thought Washington was going to get the first pick in the draft at one point in this season, and now they're in the playoff race. That's remarkable. But unfortunately, him on the verge of, I think they're going to get in. I can't put him quite in because we've seen him do this before. With Russ, and now it got to be that next level type stuff. I wouldn't have no issue if somebody voted for him, though. I can honestly say that. Now it comes back down to the 2 guys that you said. Keo says Steph, you say Jokic. I actually think Jokic is going to win. But I would give it to Steph Curry. And I'm going to tell you why. Because as bad as I mean, I know you made the case that he's barely getting into the playoffs. We think he's going to get in. I think all of us agree on that. But he literally is only 8 games back. I know that's a lot in a sense, but 8 games back of Jokic and the Nuggets. 8 games. They only won 8 more games than Steph Curry and the Warriors. If you take Steph Curry off that team, dude, they are maybe the worst team in basketball by a landslide.
No. They're not the Houston Rockets. No.
That's what I believe. That's my thoughts. My thing is Steph Curry, the scoring leader, and I get what Justin's saying. What Jokic has done this year, this is my thing. Jokic is not top 10 in scoring. I don't believe he's top 10 in scoring. I think he's like 12 or 11, which is still great. He averages a double-double. He has rebounds, and he averages, I think, more assists than Steph Curry. That's crazy. I think he averages more assists than Steph Curry. I think it's like 26 or around 26, 10, and I think 8. And Steph Curry's 32, 5 and 5 or 5 and 6 or something along them lines. But at the end of the day, I think to myself, the Nuggets, I disagree with you a little bit, Justin. I think Aaron Gordon's not a bad player. I'm not saying a superstar, but not a bad player who they got in the trade deadline. And Michael Porter Jr., I think, is a rising star. I think he's not there yet, but he's one of those guys. Paul Millsap is a veteran that you can trust. I'm not sitting here saying that he's a great player. I'm not saying that. But I feel like the Nuggets as a team is a good team. They have a good mesh of guys. Will Barton's not bad. They have a good team. But overall, I mean, of course, I agree with you. Jokic, you take Jokic off that team, that's not a playoff team. By no stretch of the imagination, you take Jokic off that team, even if Jamal Murray's healthy, that's not a playoff team. So I give Jokic his credit. I think it's razor sharp on who's going to win. I would give the edge to Jokic on actually winning. I personally, if I was a voter, I would vote for Steph Curry.
Let me say this. Would you not give an edge to a player if they have such a monumental season, one of the worst, one of the best in history? Would you not give them an edge over a player who has won MVP in the past?
And I get what you're saying, but
the whole Peyton Manning effect, the whole LeBron effect, where these guys have just done it so many times that people will give the MVP to somebody else just because they don't have next year like LeBron has, or like Peyton Manning has, or like Steph Curry has. This is their best year they'll ever have. And for them to deserve to finally get it, because Drew Brees went all his career to never win an MVP because he never had that year. He was always always had one year better.
I can see that's why I think Jokic is gonna win it. I'm saying who I would vote for would be Steph Curry. I have no issue with Jokic winning, but if you're talking about just strictly numbers, dude, then how can we not vote for Russell Westbrook? I mean, let's just be honest. If it's just about the numbers, how is Russell Westbrook not the MVP? What he's done with that team, I mean, yeah, Bradley Beal's there. We get that. He's number 2 in the scoring title. I get that. But what I'm sitting there saying is what Russ has done, even without Bradley Beal, to pull that team from the bottom, dude, you have to give him his props. I would just vote for Steph, but I have no issue if Steph wins it. I have no issue if Jokic wins it. And I'm going to be honest, this is not popular. I would not have an issue if somebody said Russell Westbrook should win the MVP. I don't have no issue with that.
Yeah, there's no way I'm voting Jokic or Russell Westbrook to win the MVP.
Oh,
definitely not Jokic. Definitely not Jokic, because I think you guys are disrespecting Michael Porter Jr. The dude's nearly averaging 20 a game. And I think there'll still be at least a 500 team without Jokic. And when I look at the head-to-head matchup with Curry and Jokic, Curry's up 2-1 throughout this regular season. He dropped 30. His numbers 32, 35, and 53.
Hey, it's razor sharp. Like I said, Kyo, I would give it to Curry, but I think when it's all said and done, Jokic is gonna get it.
All right. So the next award, I think it's pretty really easy. It's Coach of the Year.
Oh, I don't know, Justin. I don't know about this one.
This one's easy.
Okay,
easy money.
Let's hear it then.
Tom Thibodeau. Are you kidding me? You just talked about just 5 minutes ago, if someone would have told you that the New York Knicks would be the 4th seed in the East, you would have not believed them. This guy was a reject. He was fired from other jobs for being too hard on players. Goes to New York. They haven't made the playoffs in what is it, 15 years? Some crazy number. And they're the fourth seed? Come on, man. It's easy. Tom Thibodeau.
Okay, Kia, who you got? I want to hear this. I'll break the tie again. If you have a tie, if you have it him, then it's him.
I'm going with Tom Thibodeau also to win Coach of the Year. You look, it's a New York Knicks, man. Like the New York Knicks, they were nearly about to switch ownership, sell their franchise. They couldn't land no type of free agents at all. This was a bad team. Like the fans lost respect for them, and then Thibodeau shows up, and he starts slowly, you know, um, adding, not the big profile free agents, but mediocre guys, average guys, and they were able to draft RJ Barrett, which I liked last season, who did kind of showed up, and then you kept Julius Randle, and he's actually wants to stay with the team moving forward, and you look at what this team's been doing, and you look at them being the fourth seed in the playoff in the Eastern Conference. That's huge, man. And I think he definitely deserved Coach of the Year honors, and he's my pick also.
Okay. Well, that's 2 votes for
Do you
him.
understand that Julius Randle was an LA Laker reject that they didn't want? And you were just discussing him in the MVP category. You did not name one Laker. Not one. And they got 2 big superstars.
Yeah.
So you named him,
he was
from the Lakers.
He was a Pelicans reject also.
He was what?
I like that. No, I don't. Don't do that. But in all honesty, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because me and Keo spoke about this. I would actually vote for Tom Thibodeau. But I don't think it's as clear cut as you think it is. I think we need to put some respect on Monty Williams' name. When you look at the Phoenix Suns, they're the second best team in basketball. I mean, literally, they could have been number 1 had they played their players last game. And they didn't play their players, but they did win the game. If the Jazz lose their last game, they're the number 1 seed in the entire NBA. Do y'all realize that team was not a playoff team last year? The Phoenix Suns. The only reason why I give the slight edge to the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau over the Suns, because I believe that the Suns have 3 guys, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton, even though he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. Those 3 guys, bruh, that like you're kind of low-key loaded on the slick. You kind of low-key loaded. What you're saying is great about Julius Randle. That's true. He was a reject, and Tom Thibodeau has that team in the playoffs as the 4th seed. But we cannot disrespect Monty Williams and say that he shouldn't even have a chance at winning this award, because they have 10 more wins than the Knicks, and they're second in the entire NBA in wins. So I'm giving it to Tom Thibodeau just because I don't think he has the roster that Monty Williams has, but I think Monty Williams definitely deserves some recognition.
Let me tell you why that argument has no ground at all. Number 1, the Phoenix Suns were the hottest team in the bubble last year.
But Monty Williams was the coach.
They were the hottest team in the bubble. What did they get in the offseason?
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul took a terrible team last year in the Thunder and made them relevant.
That's facts.
Everywhere Chris Paul's gone, he has made them relevant. Now, I know he hasn't won any championships, but he's made every team he's going on relevant. And you're talking about a team that was everybody thought should have been in the playoffs last year without Chris Paul, because they were the hottest team in the bubble. You add, in a lot of people's opinion, an MVP candidate.
Absolutely. I didn't even mention him. You're right. Absolutely.
You add an MVP candidate. Why is it such a great coaching job to get an MVP candidate who has brought other teams to the playoffs to a hot team already? And it's a surprise that they're a good team this year.
But number 2 in the West. Like, that's a surprise. If you'd have told me the Suns a playoff team, cool. Number 2, one game back of the number 1 seed. That's where I'm like, wow, I would have never guessed that. I would have never picked the Suns to be the number 1 or 2 seed in the West and then number 1 or 2 seed overall. I'm with you though. I said I would vote for Tom Thibodeau, but if Monty Williams wins Coach of the Year, I'm not going to sit here and say Tom Thibodeau got robbed. I'm not going to do that.
Okay. All right. Well, now we have one that I know I will have a different opinion than y'all about.
Okay.
But we got Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
who you got?
I'll go first. And y'all know how much I'm a Ben Simmons. I call it Benny Hannes. That's what I'm about to say. Y'all know how much I love Ben Simmons. It's Rudy Gobert. And I'm not even a Rudy Gobert guy. He's the Defensive Player of the Year. He leads the NBA in blocks. The dude's a monster on the defensive end of the court. Donovan Mitchell missed some games down the stretch. Guess what? The Jazz are still the number 1 seed in the West in the entire NBA. Who's been the most consistent person on that team? I know with Donovan Mitchell. I'm not saying he's better than Donovan Mitchell, but he don't miss games. This dude is an anchor for that defense. He changes shots game in and game out, and if you try to go up against him, he gets all the blocks. To me, it's a landslide. I understand the Ben Simmons argument. I understand maybe some couple other guys' arguments. This is Rudy Gobert's award to win, and I think he's going to win it.
Yeah, I'm going with Rudy Gobert also. He's been the most consistent out of all of them. He protects the rim. A good defender, dominates inside the glass. And this Jazz team, they built this defense around him. And like True said, he leads the league in blocks. I think he's averaging a double-double. Yeah, so I think he's the most obvious choice for me. You could say Ben Simmons. Some people could mention Draymond in there, but I'm definitely going with Rudy Gobert in this one.
I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this. Go ahead.
I have a difference of opinion.
Oh my! Hold on.
And I fully respect the Rudy Gobert argument. Okay. It is a very valid argument. I don't dispute that. My thing is the first thing you said in your argument. I like Ben Simmons.
Okay.
This guy, he's not a great scorer, but what he does great is defense. And the thing I like about him the most is that he doesn't just guard the 5. He can guard the 5 all the way to the 1. He's probably the most diverse defender in the league, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't do great like Gobert at the 5. I think Gobert is a much better defender at 5. But I think that when it comes down to all the positions, Simmons can guard anybody on the court, and that's my argument for Simmons. For honorable mention, it would be Bam Alabama. Bam has been just great this year. He's been the Embiid killer.
If
you watch the game that night, like Embiid couldn't do nothing with Bam. So that would be my honorable mention. But I would go with Ben Simmons. But I'm not super confident on it. I think Gobert will win. I think he deserves it, and all power to him. But if I had a vote, I would vote for Ben Simmons.
Okay, I ain't mad at that.
All right, so now we got the 6th Man Award.
This is a landslide. Y'all want me to go first again?
I'll go. Okay. It's Jordan Clarkson, man.
Absolutely.
I don't know who you could possibly make an argument with in this one, man. Like in the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, you could make an argument, but I don't see nobody you could make an argument with when it comes to Jordan Clarkson, man. When he held that fort down with Donovan Mitchell out, Mike Conley out, and Jordan Clarkson, man, he has stepped up his game. He showed that he could shoot the ball. He showed that he could take the ball inside, and his handles are ridiculous also, man. So I definitely have Jordan Clarkson, man, winning the 6th Man of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not even up for debate. I agree with Keo wholeheartedly. I think this is probably one of the easier ones to pick for me. Jordan Clarkson, another thing that y'all brought up earlier, LA Laker reject. I mean, at some point, the Lakers kind of gave up on him, but Jordan Clarkson, the Jazz, the number 1 seed overall, the best team in basketball for pretty much the entire season. Yeah, I'm going Jordan Clarkson. I love the points that you made about Mike Conley being out. I love the fact that Donovan Mitchell was out, but guess what? Gobert held it down on the defensive end, and Jordan Clarkson held it down on the offensive end. So yeah, easily for me, this is not even up for debate. Is Jordan Clarkson? Okay, I think we lost Justin for a second, so we're gonna move right along. Keo, who you have for most improved player in the NBA?
Dude, that's easy, man. Most improved player is Julius Randle.
Facts.
Dude, I think this is, you can make some arguments also in this one, but it's definitely Julius Randle, man. He has stepped up his game, man. And he took a lot of notes playing with Kobe. From a lot of interviews that I was able to see. And Julian Randle's every single category as far as his numbers goes has stepped up, man. He could dominate inside. He's drawing double teams now. He could shoot the three. He could, if teams are scared to go one-on-one isolation with him. And it's definitely Julius Randle, man. Most improved player.
I honestly don't agree with what you just said in a sense when you said you can make an argument for somebody else. Who the hell are you going to make an argument for? It's clearly Julius Randle. If you told me Julius Randle would be an MVP candidate, I would be like, bro, come on, man. You're reaching a little bit. You're reaching a little bit. You must be a Knicks fan. You must be biased towards the Knicks. There is no other choice for most improved. The Knicks are the 4 seed. Julius Randle is an all-star. He's a reject, like Justin mentioned earlier. And this dude has got, not just in any market, in the New York market, the Knicks, it's on Madison Square Garden. I got Julius Randle most improved, and it's not even up for debate, in my opinion. This was actually easier to me than the 6th man. And I think Jordan Clarkson's going to win 6th man easily, going away. But I think this one, if let's just say they have 100 voters, all 100 voters, this should be unanimous that Julius Randle's the most improved.
I agree. Sorry, I don't know those of y'all know here in Texas and Louisiana, we've been having really bad weather. Yep. My lights went out for a second, so that's why I was kicked off the air. So thoughts and prayers to everybody in Louisiana. By the way, I never said that. I know y'all getting a lot of bad weather these last couple of days. So, but yeah, I agree with y'all. Julius Randle, man, he is definitely the most improved. I mean, he brought the Knicks back to being relevant. So definitely Julius Randle, man. So I think he's unanimous on this panel.
What about 6th man? We did 6th man while you was going. So
I think Clarkson also. I had Clarkson also.
Okay.
Definitely. So I don't know what the score is right now of the game of the Celtics game.
The Celtics are up by 11 right now.
We still didn't do Rookie of the Year yet. That's the one I saved because I think this might get crazy on here tonight.
All right, your NBA Rookie of the Year.
I want you to go first. And tell us who's Rookie of the Year.
All right. I know everybody's going to say Ball. I, from the get-go, never liked Ball. I'm not a Ball fan. I don't like his daddy. I don't like his brother. Probably don't like his uncle. So I would never vote for Ball. He's been doing his thing in Charlotte. It's nice. He missed a lot of games. But who I've been impressed with is Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards should win Rookie of the Year. I think he's averaged, it was 18 points a game. 19 points a game. So that's my vote for Rookie of the Year. I know you're gonna go with Ball. You're a Ball fan.
I'm gonna let Keo go because I might surprise you with this one. Go ahead, Keo.
Um, I did have LaMelo in the beginning of the season until he got injured. I think if he wouldn't have gotten injured, he would have won Rookie of the Year. But I don't have him. I think when LaMelo got injured, Anthony Edwards was like, "Hey, I'm about to take advantage of this," and I think that's what exactly that he did, man. Anthony Edwards, has proved me wrong, and I'll be the first to say it. When we did our NBA draft special, I said the dude's gonna be a bust. I thought he had bust potential written all over him, but the dude is very explosive. He could get to the rim. He's explosive when he gets to the rim. He could shoot the ball also. He could go one-on-one isolation with you. And then on top of that, he's playing with guys like D'Angelo Russell and Cat. And I definitely have him as rookie of the year, man.
Let's not
Over
mention that he had the dunk of the year.
yeah.
You know what's crazy is we didn't even talk about this before going on air, and it's unanimous. I got Anthony Edwards, and I don't even think it's really that close. Anthony Edwards led all rookies in games played and points. The dude played 71 games. Do y'all realize there's only one other rookie that played 70 games this year? That's even viable for that actually played in the game. There's only one other rookie, and I think it's Williams from the Bulls. Outside of that, Anthony Edwards is the only rookie to play 70 plus games, and that's remarkable to me. When you look at him, you can sit there and say, well, they didn't make the playoffs, and I get that argument. LaMelo Ball didn't make the playoffs. I just saw what happened just now in the playing game. But outside of that, Cat missed a lot of games this year. Cat missed a lot of games due to COVID and unfortunate situations. Definitely still thoughts and prayers with him and his family. But D'Angelo Russell missed a lot of games this year. I would know. Had him on my fantasy team. At the end of the day, that's your two best players. And then Justin, oh my God, I lost the dude's name that quick. You had him on your team. He was one of their leading scorers too at one time. You ended up trading him. God, I can't do the small forward.
But
I
can't him to you, Keo.
Yeah, he ended up trading to Keo. So they were out without their three best scorers. And guess what Anthony Edwards said? You know what? I got this. I'm going to hold a fort down. The dude has that it factor. And I didn't see it at Georgia, but I see it right now. Like you said, dunk of the year. He has highlights. Dude was going crazy in a bunch of games. Shout out to LaMelo Ball. I do like LaMelo Ball. Shout out to the Ball family. I like the Ball family. I know Justin doesn't, but the rookie of the year this year is clearly in my mind Anthony Edwards. And I was wrong about him too, Keo. I had James Wiseman going into the season. I was wrong. Justin told me Wiseman wasn't going to win it, and I should have listened back then.
That's a good quote. I like that quote. I should have listened to Justin back then. We didn't make a flyer on that, Keo. We didn't work on that.
Just a quick update for the game. It's currently in progress right now. Celtics are up 80-68 right now in the third quarter with 4 minutes left. Jason Tatum leading the way with 31 right now.
Shout out to Jason Tatum, that Goon Squad number. Let's go.
All right. So now that we're discussing the play-in tournament that's going on right now, number one, do you like it? And number two, would you like to see it continue in the future in years to come in the NBA?
If y'all don't mind, I would like to go first on this. First of all, let me say, with these two blowouts right now, well, I'm not going to say blowout. The first one was a horrible game. But the second one, I mean, it's still, the Wizards can come back and win this game. But I like the play-in tournament. I know a lot of people's going to get mad because of the blowouts, but I like it because it brings more excitement. You think about it like this. We got Jason Tatum, the Celtics, Kemba Walker versus Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, the Wizards in one game tonight, which is exciting. I wish I could be watching it, but I'm here with you guys, which is cool nonetheless. But tomorrow night, we get LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Steph Curry, Draymond Green and company. That's exciting in itself. So if we get games like that every year, I would like for them to keep this play-in tournament. I think it gives a little bit more oomph to already a great thing. I love the NBA playoffs because you really never know what's going to happen in a sense. Last year, you had the Miami Heat go to the finals, which I would have bet everything they wasn't going to get there. But Bam became Bam overnight. I say overnight, but he became a superstar last year in the playoffs with Tyler Hero playing some good ball. So I love the NBA playoffs, and I think this is an added dimension that can definitely elevate the tournament and elevate the playoffs. So I love it. Let's keep it going, and let's see what happens.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Kia.
I like the play-in tournament also, man. I didn't like how they did it last year, but this year I think they fixed a couple of things, and I like how they doing things. I hope they keep it, man. Just you look at the basketball energy right now, the playoff basketball right now that teams are have a chance to make it to the play-in tournament, because that was the whole discussion throughout the past 2 weeks. Who's going to be in the play-in? It wasn't really about the seeding with the top teams. It was more about the play-in tournament for both of these conferences, and I thought that was really interesting and entertaining, man. Especially you got the NFL adding one more team in the playoffs, and then the NBA comes back and adds this up. So I like it, and I hope they do keep it.
Let me say this. Because I'm a guy who loves to play devil's advocate. I like to see both sides of every story. I love the excitement it brought to the end of the season because you have teams that were, if you're the 12th seed in years past, it's time to tank. It's time to get your best lottery pick you can get. Now, if you're the 12th seed, you could be 3 games behind the 10th seed, and now you're still in it. So you actually have teams playing. So that made it very exciting. What I don't like is, you have football. Football has 32 teams. They only got 12 teams that make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You got baseball. You have all those teams in baseball. You only have 8 teams that make the playoffs, including the wild card? So, like in basketball, they're talking about 30 teams in basketball? And with this play-in tournament, it puts, because let's be honest, I know you got to play to be the 7th or 8th, but this is the playoffs. Tonight, the playoffs have begun. So you literally have 20 teams out of 30 in the playoffs. And you play 82 games to get there. That's a lot of games to get almost the whole league in the playoffs. So it kind of drains the playoffs, because are you really a good team if you're, the 20th best team out of 30, but you're still a playoff team? So
I get that.
I get that argument when you talk about LeBron James, who's like, man, we played 82 games. We already have 16 teams, which is more than any other league out there making the playoffs. And now you're adding 4 more. Like, is 16 not enough? So I get that argument. But let's be real, as a fan,
I knew you was gonna say that. And the NFL actually went up to 7.
Yeah, you're right. It's 7, but it's still 14 out of 32.
That's true. I'm just saying they did go up though. It's not like they just stayed.
And they only play 17 games now.
Yeah.
So when you have a league that plays 82 games to get to a spot, and it's not good enough for the league, that you still got to play some games to get in. I can see where if you're a 7 seed, you're like, man, that's not cool. I played 82 games.
Well, I'll say this though. The one positive to this, let's just pretend. Now, obviously, we can say you're pretending, but it's not really the case. But let's say the Lakers actually lost a little bit more games where LeBron and AD did miss more time, and they were the 9th seed. That's a seed that actually can win the whole thing if they're healthy. Sometimes, unfortunately, even though you play a lot of games, if you have a stud out or 2 studs out, you could lose a lot of games and then still have a chance to do something. So obviously they're not the 9th seed right now, they're the 7th seed, and they would be in if it was just normal playoff format. But had they lost a few more games, they would be the 9th seed, and they'd be on the outside looking in. And we all think, I think it's unanimous, that if the Lakers are healthy, they're probably the favorite to come out of the West. So I would stick with it, man. I think it's a good little thing because if a player gets hurt, it's not like, oh, we got to give up our season. Let's take the rest of the year. No, that player can come back. You have a chance to get in as a 10th seed and make some noise. And we talked about, I think, last week about Klay Thompson. You wasn't on, but if the Warriors brought back Klay Thompson, do you know how fire this postseason would be? That would be incredible. So I like it.
I mean, like I said, as a fan, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It makes it more interesting. But I get it for if I'm a player, man,
Yeah.
it seems a little unfair.
Yeah, keep the Lakers out. If they didn't make it, keep them out. We don't want no parts.
But I mean, they did make it. They
No,
were
I
a
know,
top
I know.
8 seed.
Yeah, I know.
So I mean, I'm rooting against them. I hope they don't even make the playoffs.
Shout out to Shardell Gupta. I hope I said that right. She said the Lakers will lose tomorrow night to the Warriors.
I like her or him, whatever it is.
Or him, or I don't know. I hope I said your name right.
Yeah.
My apologies if I didn't.
Definitely. All right, so who you got in? We know the matchups for the tonight. What about tomorrow night? Who do y'all have for the play-in tournament tomorrow night?
Go ahead, Keo.
Playing tournament tomorrow night. I got the Lakers beating the Golden State Warriors. As long as LeBron and AD's there, you get Dennis Schroeder back. You got Kuzma there. You got all the perimeter shooters over there, man. And their defense is pretty much dialed in and locked in on you. I just don't think that it's gonna be enough for the Warriors, and I got the Lakers winning, and the following matchup is with the Spurs and the Grizzlies. I got the Grizzlies in this one, man. I just think inside outside game, and then I just like the supporting cast that they have in Memphis. So I got the Grizzlies winning that matchup also.
I'll go next. I agree with Keo wholeheartedly. Of course, I'm rooting for the Warriors to beat the Lakers, but do I honestly think that I would bet on it? Absolutely not. I got the Lakers winning that game. And I do have the Grizzlies. I think we're gonna have another Grizzlies versus Warriors, the last game of the season. That's what it was, to see who gets the 8th seed. But yeah, I'm going Lakers tomorrow night over the Warriors. I'm going with the Grizzlies over the Spurs.
Did a guy from the Bay Area,
yeah, right,
who voted for Steph Curry as the MVP, just pick against him?
Yeah, I gotta keep it 1,000 with you, man, and I'm not gonna be biased towards that.
You take your Bay Area card away from you, man. So I'm gonna be the wild card in this because I'm the only one on here that apparently has the guts to make a prediction that Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors will beat the LA Lakers tomorrow night.
Hey, I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong on that prediction.
I think Steph Curry will go off, and I think they beat the Lakers. It's a one-game thing. Now, if you told me it's a series, then there's no doubt in my mind the Lakers will win that series. But one game, if I'm going to bet on one game, whether LeBron and AD are going to go off or Steph Curry is going to go off, I'm going to bet on Steph Curry. So I got to go with the Warriors. For the other game, I'm kind of with y'all on that. I think the Grizzlies, without a doubt, will win that game. You got Ja Morant. Shout out to Ja Morant, who was part of my second place fantasy basketball team. But he kind of let me down. But hopefully tomorrow night he won't let my predictions down. I think they'll beat the Spurs. And then after that, I think the Lakers will beat the Grizzlies to get that 8th seed.
Okay.
So I still see the Lakers making the playoffs. I just see them as the 8th seed, the Warriors being the 7th seed.
Okay.
So now that we've got that tournament done, let's get to the real tournament, the NBA playoffs. We have 4 matchups set. The others aren't set yet because it really depends on whether or not we're good at our predictions. So we don't know those matchups. So let's go with what we know. We have the Bucks versus the Heat in the East right now. Who y'all got in Bucks versus Heat? Real quick.
Go ahead, Kyo.
This is a rematch from last year, and man, I think the outcome's gonna be the same thing. I think Miami beats them. In the seven, yeah, in the 6 game
Wow.
series. I just don't think Milwaukee is good enough. Budenholzer, the coach for Milwaukee, he is definitely on the hot seat. I think he'll be gone after this season, man. I think as long as you could limit Giannis and you force them outside of the paint, I think, and because that's exactly what they did last season, and they were able to advance. And I just like what the pieces that Miami had with Jimmy Buckets, Tyler Hero, Bam, and and then you got a lot of veteran leadership over there, and I like Miami to advance to the next round.
How many games?
I think they'll finish them off in 6 games.
Wow. Now they go 7. Um, shout out to the Heat, man. The Heat proved me completely wrong last season. I actually lost some bets messing around with the Heat. But the Bucks added Drew Holiday. They added PJ Tucker, 2 guys that are gritty on the defensive end. That's gonna knock down shots when it matters. They're not gonna get nervous. They're gonna rise to the occasion. And then you add that in with Chris Middleton, and you add that in with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez. I'm going with the Bucks, man. Revenge, kind of like with me, Justin, happened last season. I think the Bucks come for revenge in this series. If we know Jimmy Butler has been nicked up these past few weeks. So is Jimmy Butler completely 100% healthy? We're gonna find out. They traded for Oladipo right before the break, but we know he's out for the season. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks. And I actually think the Bucks are gonna make a statement in this series. I'm going with the Bucks in 5.
Okay. Well, let me say this. Shout out to the Heat. The Heat they have been one of the most hottest team in the NBA right now. But I like what Giannis has been doing this year. He's been under the radar. He's not been in the MVP chat at all. And I think he's actually performed better under that because it's been less pressure. Kind of like I did last year with the fantasy football thing, fly on the radar and won the whole thing. So he performed better when no one thought that he should be winning the championship because the last couple of years it was championship or bust in Milwaukee. This year he's gotten some help. He's been under the radar, and I think he's actually gained some confidence in it because he has nothing to lose. So I'm gonna go with Milwaukee, but I think he's gonna go 7. I think it's gonna be a great series.
Wow. Okay.
This is must-see TV. I think this is gonna go back and forth, and I wouldn't be surprised if Miami took this series. I really wouldn't. But if I had to pick, I'm gonna go with Milwaukee.
Okay.
The next one we have is a pretty interesting matchup. We got the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh. Go ahead, Keo. I'm interested to hear this.
I got the Knicks advancing. I think this will go the 7 games. I think the task is to stop Julius Randle, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that. And I know they got Clint Capella there, but the thing is though that the Atlanta is really banged up right now, and they got a mix with young players and veterans on that New York Knicks team. Tom Thibodeau, he's been in these situations before when it comes to the postseason. So I think he has a huge advantage over that. And then you got guys like RJ Barrett. Derrick Rose is still balling right now. You got guys like Bullock, Taj Gibson from coming off from the bench. And I think the Trey Young, this is his first time in the postseason, man. So I want to see how he actually deals with this. But I just don't think it's going to be enough going against the New York Knicks. And I got the Knicks advancing to the next round.
I 100% agree with you on this. Defense, defense, defense. They're gonna slow the game down. I actually think that this can either go one or two ways in a sense. I think it's either gonna be a sweep for the Knicks or they're gonna win in 7. I mean, I'm giving Trey Young the benefit because I like Trey Young. He was on my fantasy team. Shout out to Trey Young. But I'm scared for him too because this team, bro, they're physically, defensively. To me, they're gonna grind out every win. They kind of remind me of like the old Bulls, like you said, with Derrick Rose and all them. But they also remind me of the Memphis Grizzlies that gave people a lot of trouble. The grindhouse with Mike Conley and Zach Randolph and Marcus All and them guys. This team is very gritty. It would not surprise me if they swept the Hawks because the Hawks, like you said, Keo, a lot of young guys that have no playoff experience, never really experienced it all. But I'm gonna go 7 only because I haven't seen Julius Randle in these type of moments. This is the playoffs. If I'm gonna say Trey Young may not show up, what happens if Julius Randle doesn't show up? It could be dangerous. So I'm gonna say 7, and I got the Knicks, man.
This was really hard for me because I don't trust either one of these teams.
Really?
The Knicks have been really good this year, but they've been really bad in close games at the end. They have found ways to lose close games. And this is the time of the year where that will bite you in the butt. But I also don't trust Trey Young.
Yeah, man. They're a jump shooting team. That's what scares me about them.
To me, it's almost unfair because you got a team like Miami and Milwaukee, two powerhouses going against each other. And if I'm being honest, I don't think either one of these teams could hold anything to either one of those other two teams. So I think it's unfair that you have a matchup where you have two teams that one's going to be gone, and then you got the Knicks and the Hawks that I don't think either one should be in the second round. But we have what we have. Like I said earlier, we played 82 games. So I can't say that.
Normally 82, though. You're right.
Yeah, I can't say that and then complain about it because they had their shot to get there where they're at. So if I had to pick one,
do it. Please do it. Do it.
If I had to pick one, I'm going to go with the Knicks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But very reluctantly, very cautiously. I would not be betting the mortgage on the Knicks.
See, I'm actually opposite of you. I think the Knicks are going to win this series no matter what. Now, if Randall comes to play, I think it's going to be a sweep. If
you're asking me who's the better team, the Knicks are definitely 100% the better team. I just don't trust them. I don't trust them. Number one, they're not experienced.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier. The Knicks haven't been in the postseason in over 10 years or whatever it is. And this year, they have lost a lot of close games.
That's true.
That shows a lot of inexperience. And that in the playoffs will kill you. So that really scares me. And I would not bet on this team at all. But if you had a gun to my head and you said pick one, I'm going with the Knicks.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You said the Knicks, Keo?
Yeah,
all three of us picked the Knicks.
Okay. All right. So how about the Nuggets and the Trailblazers in the West?
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know what time it is, man. I'm holding it down for the Bay once again, man, and I'm going with the Portland Trailblazers. I think they'll end this in 5 or 6.
Wow.
I think this is going to be completely different, man. Without Jamal Murray, I think you're going to need more than just Jokic in this game, man, to win the series. And Jokic is going to get his, but what is the rest of that supporting cast going to do? Because Jamal Murray was a huge number 2, and I don't know if Michael Porter Jr. can be that number 2 going into the postseason. I like him. I like what he's been doing this season, but I just don't think it's gonna be enough, man, because you're dealing with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. You got Norman Powell that they got traded for. You got veterans like Carmelo, and then you got the inside game with Nurkic and Enes Kanter. Uh,
Facts.
and and then Denver, they didn't finish strong, man. They lost a lot of crucial games. They got taken down by Golden State. They got beaten by Phoenix, Utah towards the end of the season. They lost to the Lakers also. And one of the reasons why is with no Jamal Murray. You could let Jokic get his, but who else is gonna step in and say, "Hey, I got this. I'm gonna I could take you off the dribble." You can't find anybody could do that outside of Michael Porter Jr. But Michael Porter Jr., from what I've seen as of late, he's been jacking up a lot of threes, man, and that's not the way to win it. And I got the Portland Trailblazers, man, in at 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, I got Portland. I'll say in 6. I got Portland. Nurkic missed a lot of time this year. CJ McCollum missed a lot of time this year. This team in the last 10 games are 8-2. Even though I think that, let me compare this. Y'all remember the year Dirk Nowitzki won the MVP? And they got beaten the first round by the Warriors. I know Keo remembers that. The whole Baron Davis, Steven Jackson,
Yeah.
all those guys, they won that first round series. I look at it like this. Nurkic, I think, is going to win MVP. Even though I would vote for Steph Curry, I think Nurkic is going to get it. But I think people are going to regret it right away because I think he's going to get knocked out in the first round. The Trailblazers, man, they have too much firepower. They, like I said, they finished strong. They had a lot of injuries this season, but they shook back at the end, went 8-2 in the last 10 games. They actually beat the Nuggets pretty handily at the end of the season. No Jamal Murray, not super confident. They had Jamal Murray. I may think differently, but right now I'm going with the Portland Trailblazers in 6, and it might be 5 like Keo said, but I'm going with Portland.
All right.
Pick your boy Campanzo, the dude that you. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you know
Joe.
you gotta guard Damian Lillard, right? You gotta guard.
Yeah, you already know what time it is. Man.
Hey, he almost got you a fantasy championship too. That dude was balling, man. I'm like, come on, man, really?
Did you say fantasy championship?
Oh, that's football. We're talking basketball. Stay on topic.
All right. Yeah. But I'm gonna go with Portland. I think they just have too much firepower. Honestly, I think if Murray was back, I would honestly pick Denver. Because I think when you have a good 1-2 punch from the inside and out, I think I would go with that over a good backcourt. But at the end of the day, we'll never know. That's another thing. I had Murray on my fantasy basketball team. Once again, if we had Murray playing, we may have a different result.
Don't be that guy.
We may have a different result.
Don't do that. Because now we can start talking about ifs, this, and that. Don't do that.
So, but at the end of the day,
come on.
Murray's not on the court. What?
I said, look, you put a Lakers hat on. You're a Warriors fan. You should be, your player. Your fan card should be taken.
Before you jump to conclusions, I'm tributing this show to Kobe, man.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
He's got the Mamba shirt on and the Laker cap.
I'm gonna take a step back. I got on purple and gold. I don't even like the Lakers, but I got purple and gold on right now.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Portland. I think experience helps, but Denver does have experience, but at the end of the day, they're missing their second best player, and Portland is not. So I'm gonna go with Portland in this, but I think it's gonna go 6 games. I don't trust Portland because just like the Knicks, Portland likes to lose close games. Dame can win you games, but at the end of the day, he can also lose you games. I go 6 games, but I think he'll be pretty convincingly. Um, the last one we have are the Clippers and the Dallas
A
Mavericks.
rematch.
Let's go.
I think this is gonna be the best series in the first round. I think it's gonna go 7 games. Um, Obviously you have guys like Luca. He's has stepped up on a whole new level. You know, he gets his number two Porzingis as long as he's healthy. And then you got those perimeter shooters out there with Tim Hardaway Jr., um, Josh Richardson. Um, but it's the LA Clippers, man. And the LA Clippers, they're a team that it's not that nobody's talking about in the West, man. After what happened last season, and I think the LA Clippers, I think they're gonna try to make some noise, make a push. I do have the Clippers winning this series, but I think the series is gonna be a 7 game series. It's gonna go 7 games. I got the Clippers in this one.
So disrespectful. So damn disrespectful on this show. I got the Clippers in 5. The Clippers are gonna dog walk the Mavericks. Are you kidding me? The Mavericks are not gonna win more than 1 game, and I'm giving them a game because of Luka Doncic. But you're hearing the rumblings already. I know Justin, he lives in that area. Luka and Porzingis, for the most part, not gonna say they don't like each other. Mark Cuban, I don't know why he came out and said that they don't hang together. They're not big fans of each other. To me, when you say that right before the playoffs, that says a lot to me. That says like we heard the rumors of Porzingis about to get traded before the trade deadline. I don't like what's going on in Dallas. I thought Dallas was going to be a better team. I came on this show right after they got knocked out last year and was like, Luka's going to win the MVP, and this team has a shot at the NBA Finals. But they haven't played up to that what I thought they were going to be. So I'm going, they're going to get dog walked in this series. I think the Clippers are on a mission this year to prove everybody, I don't want to say wrong or right because it depends on who you're talking to. The Clippers, to me, they have they know it's either championship or bust, and I don't see the Mavericks knocking them off. So I'm going with the Clippers in 5.
You ready?
I know you live in Dallas. I know you live in the Dallas area, but I gotta be honest with the fans tuned in. I got the Clippers in 5.
You ready?
Oh, don't do it, Justin. Don't you do it. No.
Let's go!
Oh.
Let's go!
You
The Dallas Mavericks will beat the Los Angeles Clippers.
He needs to be drug tested. Oh my God.
Yes. The Unicorn and Luka Doncic, top player in the NBA, will go into LA. The most underachieving team in the last 5 years, the Los Angeles Clippers. And just like they were an afterthought, there's a reason why they were an afterthought this season. That nobody was talking about them winning the championship because they deserve to be an afterthought. I should know. I had Leonard on my fantasy basketball team. You see how many rings I have on my finger because of
And I did have Porzingis, so shout out to Porzingis, man.
What does that tell you? You win with Porzingis.
This is not only 5, this is the claw. Oh! 5. They're going to get them. That's going to be the worst series of the first round.
No.
No, I think that's going to be the best series of the first
best
round.
series is Knicks versus Hawks because it's so unpredictable.
No, the best series is Miami and Milwaukee.
Hell no. I just tell you, Milwaukee's going to beat them in 5 too.
Bullshit. Whatever. Okay. But Dallas win in 7 games.
Hey,
You heard it
hey,
here
you know
first.
what?
Come back to the NBS Central, to the NBS Show, the #1 show on the sports network, and come tell me I'm right afterwards.
Hey, I'm feeling real good about this. I'm thinking a case of
Oh,
water.
here we go. Here we go.
I'm feeling a case of water right now because I think you completely lost your damn mind. We need to bring the drug test out. We need the drug test. Are you kidding? They're gonna beat the Clippers? Oh my God. We'll talk off air. Let me ask you this before we wrap up the show. Hypothetically speaking, just based off what you think is gonna happen, who do you have winning the other 4 matchups? Based on what you think is gonna happen. It doesn't matter. You know, we might have the Jazz versus the Warriors. You may have the Jazz versus the Lakers. Who do you think is
All
going
right,
to
so
win
I
those
had
matchups?
the 7 seed. I predicted the 7 seed to go to the Warriors. So that
Okay.
would put in you. I think that the Warriors have a good shot at beating Utah.
Well, no, the Warriors would get the Suns if they're the 7th seed.
Okay, all right, you're right. You okay? So yeah, okay. Then I'm gonna go with Phoenix.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Phoenix over Golden State, and then the 1 seed being Utah playing LA. I'm going with the Lakers.
Who you got, Keo? However you had it drawn up, who would you have winning those Western Conference games?
So I got the Lakers as the 7th seed, and I got the Warriors as an 8th seed, and the Lakers will advance to the next round. They'll beat Phoenix, and then I got Golden State defeating Utah as an 8th seed.
Wow!
You got both lower seeds upsetting 1 and 2. Damn.
You know the crazy
Yeah.
thing is, I'm actually with Keo on this. I think if Donovan Mitchell, we know he's not playing right now. If Mitchell doesn't play, I got the Warriors in that 1-8 matchup as well, and I definitely got the Lakers over the Suns. Even though the Suns have played great basketball, I would love to see them beat the Lakers. I'm not picking them over the Lakers. That's craziness. So I'm going with the Lakers and the Warriors to advance. On the Eastern side, however you got it set up, we know what's going on right now. The Celtics are pretty much running away with this game right now. Who you got?
So we know the Celtics will be playing
the Nets.
The Nets. I'm going to go with the Nets. So we got the 76ers playing either Indiana or Washington. I'm going Washington in that matchup. No, Washington in the
okay.
18. Hold on, I got Washington playing them. Okay, because we had to figure out who's playing them first.
Got you. Okay, I got you.
Okay, so I got Washington beating Indiana. So Washington versus Philly. Yeah, I got Philly.
Keo?
Okay, 7th seed Boston. They're gonna get swept by Brooklyn. It's gonna be 4-0.
Yes,
that's gonna be the worst series in the first round.
Yes,
and then the 8th seed, I got Washington, man. I got Washington.
That's the 8th seed. That's the 8th seed he's talking about.
Yeah, I got Washington as an 8th seed.
Oh,
see, once again, listen, man.
I got Washington I got a Washington as an 8th seed, and I think Philly will finish them in 5 or 6 games.
Okay, I see it the same way y'all see it. I clearly got Brooklyn beating the Celtics. I think the Celtics could still win just because Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker. I think, man, Tatum, bro, is a superstar. I'm not saying they will.
The only way they still won is if one of the 3 sit or gets injured, because that happens very often. There's only been less than 10 games all year long where all 3 have played. So that's a definite possibility. But if they all play, man.
He
has.
Go ahead. You good?
No, I was saying he has 50 points right now in this game.
50? Where was that when I needed that? I wanted a blowout. Hey,
It's 113 to 94 right now, and on the Celtics team right now, he's a one of three players that's in double figures right now.
dude, he's a problem, bro. I got the Sixers obviously over the Wizards. I think the Wizards are gonna beat the Pacers, but they're not gonna beat the Sixers. That's craziness. Like you just said, Justin, earlier, Ben Simmons is your MVP. I'm not saying he's gonna stop Russell Westbrook.
He was not
Obviously,
MVP. He wasn't
not
MVP.
MVP, defensive player. I'm sorry. Defensive player of the year. You talking about him guarding Russell Westbrook? Not saying stopping him, but definitely slowing him down somewhat. And I just don't see Robin Lopez or any of those bigs that they have having any. They have no chance versus Joel Embiid. It's gonna be one sided completely in that matchup, in my opinion.
All right. All right, man. So that concludes the NBS show, man. Like this is the part of the show where we do our shout outs. I know we're gonna hear a couple more stories about how great and wonderful he did this year in the NBS Fantasy Basketball League. Let's go ahead and get it over with.
Okay, hold up 1 second. I want to give a shout out to. Let me pull it
Here we
up
go.
real
Here
quick.
we go. His
Okay,
acceptance speech here.
First and foremost, I want to give a shout out
We
to
can't
Just
see it.
Justin.
Oh,
As you can see, 16-1, the number one team, the Goon Squad. But shout out to Just Justin, man. He was an incredible, runner up. I mean, he had a great team for a runner-up type team.
runner-up type
But at
team.
the end of the day, the Goon Squad proved that, they were the best team all year. And when Justin beat us, Anthony Davis was on the IR. But when he played us this time, he had a message for you, Justin. He told me that whenever he balls out, he was going to say it on air. And that was, I'm back. And you saw it firsthand. You got the L. So I want to give a shout out to. I want to give a shout out to the whole roster. Trigger Trey Young, D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, Kristaps Porzingis, Rudy Gobert, Nicholas Alexander Walker, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, Keldon Johnson, Jackson Hayes, Joel Embiid, DeAndre Hunter, Paul George, Ben Simmons, Dario Saric, Lonzo Ball, Kevin Porter Jr., and last but not least, my favorite player in the NBA. I wanted him when Justin got him, Jason Tatum. Let's go, Goon Squad. And of course, their head coach and owner, Truex, the sports junkie. Thank y'all for having me on the show tonight. Keo, I look forward to that belt. Well, not that one, but the new championship belt being in the behind me, or I might just rock the gold every time I come on air. But it's been a pleasure. I enjoy you guys. I enjoy the NBS League, and I'm out. Peace.
Hold on. Who you got, Keo?
What did you say?
Oh, your shout outs. I know. We should have played the piano music like they do at the Oscars. But we have other people on the show. Keo, give me your shout outs.
Yo, shout out to both of you guys. Shout out to the NBS show. It's always good to come on the NBS show. Shout out to X winning the fantasy basketball league. Make sure you tune in. We got a busy schedule this week. Make sure you tune into NBS. Let's talk about it tomorrow night with me, X, and Saray. And make sure you also tune into Bragging Rights on its new day now, on every Sundays now. So check out GBD on that one. And later tonight, man, we will be dropping the Ultimate Madness 3 predictions. The semifinals will be dropping it later tonight. But with that being said, shout out to everybody that tuned in and supports the show. And we out, man.
I want to give a shout out to y'all for coming on the show. Even though I had to hear and accept the speech from a win that should have never happened. But I want to give a shout out to myself for being so great. For
Oh
I can
man.
make a special needs person's wish come true here.
It's all good, man.
But yeah, shout out to True, shout out to Keo, man. Thank you for coming and holding it down for Jasper. I hope to see you back next week, man. I can't wait for you to get back on here. So here we. Oh, really, really, really? I can't with you right now. Man. I can't.
Oh man.
Oh, I should never let you win.
Hey,
Once again,
forget it. This just wait until vacation. I didn't say vacation. I said vacation. It's coming. 2021, summer 2021.
oh, kind of like the snow ski trip that they took last year.
Hey, chill out. Hey, we not talking about football right now. This is basketball season.
Season's over. It's over.
Hey, we talking about the most recent then. Most recent, up to date. I just got married, man, and it's feeling real good right now.
Where's she at?
Hey, she coming. Hey, she's getting her hair done. She getting her nails did. Hey, listen, don't worry. She coming. Hey, you gonna
she getting your name tattooed on her?
Huh?
She getting your name tattooed on her?
Yeah, she getting my name tattooed. We ain't gonna talk about where. Just know it's
Oh man, I can't do it.
Oh man.
Well, for those of y'all on Facebook, man, we appreciate y'all watching. I know a lot of y'all don't know what's going on here, man. But True X Junkie, this guy is ridiculous. And if you blame anybody, blame him. But next week back for real sports analysts with me and the franchise where we discuss sports and nothing but sports.
hey, real quick, look at this clown stuff. Russell Westbrook had 2014 and 5. Probably his worst game in a long time. He gonna do that after the season's over. That's so trash.
Because he didn't have me in his ear anymore.
Wrap this show up.
All right, everybody on Facebook, thank y'all for tuning in, man. Tune in next week. Tune in to the Let's Talk It tomorrow night. It's gonna be a great show. So until next week, man. Peace.